This is a letter I got from Shasta County Superior Court. It says right here, each document must be individually stapled, cannot be loose papers. Judicial counsel forms may not be altered. Signatures must be original, or the document must state that it has been filed by fax. It says cannot alter court documents, cannot resubmit already filed court documents. This is a case docket information, basically a court date summary and information. This is the court date that we had in Sacramento. It's 10/28/16, and it says T. Smith, and then this is canceled out. It says Daniel Hockenden. I believe that might have been the judge, but that wasn't our judge. Our judge was Judge McBrien. And so this T. Smith, this was added in later. This is S. Clark. She's the one that sent the letter of the amended restraining order. And it says right here, Snyder versus Snyder, this case number. It says this matter came up for hearing at request of, I didn't say anything. And it says checkmark DV 143, which is paperwork that was filed. And it says stipulations were entered per local form FL 63, filed and approved. Judgment entered, nothing, right? And it says C orders are effective forthwith and are not conditional or entry of a formal order. All of the remaining orders remain in effect. All parties to inform court of change in address. Okay, nothing else is checked off in this case docket or summary. All right, and what happened was One Safe Place sent an advocate down to Sacramento on Kendra's behalf, and the Judge McBrien was furious about it. He was so pissed because the kids were supposed to be returned weeks before that, and they never got returned. And they sent an advocate down there, and I remember that day, and Judge McBrien said specifically, like, why didn't she show up? She had court today, and Kendra was supposed to show up. And then he said, and the lady, the advocate from One Safe Place, her name's Miss Givens and Tina Jenkins. She said that the kids were under protection, and they were in protective custody, or they're under their protection, right? And Judge McBrien said, no, she's been court ordered to come here, and that she needs to bring the kids. And how do I know that they're still alive just because you're telling me that? Okay, so this is the notice of court hearing. All right, this was allegedly filed on the 11th in Sacramento County, and I'm going to show you a few things that jumped out right away. It says all granted until hearing, and then this is checked. It says party granted and party denied, partly granted and partly denied until court hearing, and then it doesn't give specifics of what is exactly denied. And then right on the next page, right here, is this Judge McBrien. It says it was signed on the 12th, and it says Judge McBrien. Now, I believe, in my opinion, what I believe is that this is my paperwork that I got from Judge McBrien, and that they just somebody just added this stamp in later, or added that later. And then so this was certified by the Shasta County Superior Court, Sacramento County Superior Court on the 12th. And then I don't know who this clerk is, but this happens a few times in this paperwork. And then I just believe that it was not the same case number, because in Sacramento County they're going to stamp the front page. They're going to stamp this page right here. And I've been there plenty of times with paperwork. They usually stamp this area. They stamp this area with the date of they received the document, filed and endorsed, and then they stamp this, and usually those clerks like stamp it right in the middle. So to have it like on the third page of the court order, and then have the judge sign it on the side, I believe that's not correct. And the same with this here, with this being certified, they're basically certifying all pages. That's why it says needs to be stapled together, or put together, so that each page basically is together with its with its court order. This is a court order, and then that would be all stamped here. It wouldn't be stamped on every page. This is a copy of the paperwork from Sacramento that's basically, had granted her a temporary restraining order against me and took the kids out of the county. And this is what's filed in Sacramento County for custody of my kids. So this is very important, that basically these documents were changed and altered and they were filled out by somebody else. I mean, that's huge. That's very important. And I'll show you why I know that for a fact. I mean, like each one of these pages being stamped, that just, it's not proper. It just doesn't make sense, It may not be that big of a deal, but it is kind of a big deal in this case, considering the fact that there's been forged documents. So this is one of the signatures that I was talking about that's not Kendra's. This date and this signature here. You could tell that that's not her handwriting or her signature. And then as you go more forward with this document, like stamping this here, these little notes here, this basically says little notes that need to be filled out. And then here we go with another signature right here. So this is the domestic violence attachment to request for domestic violence restraining order. And then this handwriting and this signature is completely different. So my question from the very beginning of this case was, who's doing that? And why are they doing that? And then why is this considered legal documentation? Like if somebody's been forging her signature, then why is that considered to be illegal? I asked the district attorney's office that. I asked the judges this in Shasta County Superior Court. I kept asking this question from day one, and basically kept getting arrested, thrown in jail. I got arrested on the 23rd or 24th of October in 2016, right after this date. And I know for a fact that I had filed custody in Sacramento County, had a court date and was granted the custody orders. And then we had another court date on the 28th, and I was granted emergency custody orders and a restraining order against Kendra. And then I got arrested and thrown in jail. I was in jail for almost 9 months. And when I got out of jail, all the records had been changed. And these are the records that have been changed. Obviously that's not her signature. It's not even similar at all. And then there's another one on this page here. And in my opinion, what had happened is basically one safe place went down there on her behalf. Sacramento County was furious about it. And they went back to Shasta County and they forged documents and had somebody down in Sacramento file those documents or stamp those documents for them and get them filed into the court so that they could cover up the abduction of my kids. So here's another signature right here. And that doesn't look anything like the other two. I believe that these papers are pieced together. Maybe some of what they planned on filing in the first place, and then later on changed it to a different order or different paperwork. I mean, look at the difference in that, and then look at the difference in handwriting. And I've been calling the district attorney's office. I've been asking the district attorney's office to investigate this for, I would say, 7 years. I asked that the first time I got arrested. I asked the district attorney's office to investigate. I had a public defender. His name was Joe Hoffman, and he was actually he got the copies from Sacramento of the original paperwork, and he was saying that that my case had been dismissed and that my kids were abducted, and he got fired from the public defender's office. So this has been ongoing for the past 7 years. Every time I get arrested, when I try to get help and have somebody investigate this case, I get arrested and thrown in jail. I was on probation for an extra year for no reason. My original, when I first got arrested, my original probation was 3 years. I was on probation for 4. And then almost got violated in the last month of my probation, where they were going to put me in prison in Shasta County. They were trying to put me in prison in the last month. And then come to find out later on, I figured out that all the paperwork in Shasta County is the same way, where it's just forged documents. Here's another one right here. This is not her signature. you know, and this is just income and expense declaration. I mean, you wouldn't file an income and expense declaration in Sacramento County unless you planned on paying child support. I mean, you do have to file all this paperwork when you ask for custody, but the fact that she would fill out an income and expense declaration in Sacramento, then that means that child support would be in Sacramento, and we would have went to court in Sacramento for child support. And she never went back to court because she didn't want to get arrested for abduction. And, you know, everybody that's involved in this case, and they're all aware of that. You know, here's another one, parent-child declaration, and she, you know, basically this is not her handwriting, and then that's not her signature. You know, so as you go through these documents and you start seeing these things over and over and over. I mean, here's another one. This says temporary restraining order. Right here, it says F, like as in female, and this is 6580, right? Like somebody else is filling this out for her, right? And then it says the address and phone number of her mom's. And then it says right here, Jacob Snyder, ex-boyfriend. And I was her husband for 10 years. And I highly doubt that she would put that on that paperwork, you know? So if somebody's filling it out, you know, filling the paperwork out and then she's signing it, then that's something different, you know? But if somebody's filling this paperwork out and filing it on her behalf and she's not around or she doesn't know what's going on, and then somebody puts like boyfriend here and then signs it and turns it into Sacramento County, that's forged documents and signatures. You know, here's another one with Judge McBrien on the bottom here. So I believe that this was my paperwork. I mean, you could see like a whiteout mark that's like it's copied, right? So I believe this was my paperwork originally, and that somebody went through and like stamped it a different case number and then used this judge's signature on the bottom. Because in my paperwork, I wouldn't ask for rights to mobile phone. Or maybe I would have asked for that, but I wouldn't have asked for the other issues that are on here. And then this is stamped and signed again.